Welcome back to another installment of Dceased, Deadplanet. Now, our last installment, what we saw was Constantine. He killed Ramakusha, he got the Spirit Destiny, he betrayed his friend, Boston Brand, aka Deadman, he got the Cloak of Ragman, and now he's trying to get the helmet and amulet of Dr. Fate. Now, Zatanna is against all of this, but the reason Constantine is doing this is because Trigon is coming to Earth. Trigon is coming to Earth and is going to kill everyone. He's going to wipe out the entire world. Because everything that's going on with the undead and none of the souls are going to hell. So Trigon is kind of mad about this. So he's going to show up, kill everyone, and Constantine needs to be prepared for this. But what's also going on is we got Professor Ivo and Penguin. They're creating this Amazo army to kill the undead. And now we also got a cure being made by Cyborg in the Garden of Gotham. And everything's going to come to a head in this issue. Because this issue is the penultimate issue in this series. And it's going to set up the finale of this huge event. So, if you guys are ready, let's dive into DC's Deadplanet number 6. We begin in Australia, and Penguin walks into the room of Professor Ivo. Penguin says, "Are they ready?" And Ivo responds, "Very nearly, Penguin." Now, Penguin says, "You've been fine-tuning the Amazo army for days, Ivo." Ivo responds, "I have. Do you know why, Cobblepots? Because one wrong calculation and these androids won't just take out all the anti-life on the planets. They'll wipe us out as well." Now, Penguin says, "You promised results, Ivo. That's when Ivo threatens to kill Penguin, and you see the Amazos surround Penguin. Now, Ivo says, "Considering I am the sole commander of a superpowered, artificially intelligent army that could destroy the very planet you're standing on, maybe you should review your tone. I'll be done soon. The undead can wait a little longer." That's when we shift to the garden in Gotham. Cyborg says, "The life equation is in me. My blood is recoded." Now, Superman says, "It's done?" And Cyborg responds, "It's done." Now, Superman, aka Jonathan Kent, he kneels down to Crypto, and he says, "What comes next, Cyborg?" Now, Cyborg responds, "I don't know. I don't know how to turn it into a cure." Now, Batman, hanging with Ace the Bat Hound, says, "We need knowledge. If only we had one of the world's greatest biochemists with us." And Cyborg looks at Damian Wayne, aka Batman, and says, "What are you talking about? Isn't everyone dead?" Now Batman says, "Yes, but being dead shouldn't stop this one." Swamp Thing. Now Swamp Thing comes out and he says, "Lil Batman, I am sorry about Jason. He seemed like a good being." Now Damian responds, "He wasn't always, but I think he changed a lot. I wish I had had more time with the guy he become." Swamp Thing says, "I understand. Alec Holland, had a brother once. Part of me misses him." Now Damian says, "Swamp Thing, I want Jason to be the last one lost to this virus. For that, we need that man you used to be. We need the part of his mind that is still in you. We need Dr. Alec Holland." Now Swamp Thing responds, "Alec was a brilliant biologist and biochemist, but even he could not do what you're asking, not alone." Now Damian says, "Oh, I know, which is why you won't be alone." That's when we see Zatanna. She narrates, "Batman brought them all together, linked by the grain and by the telepathic powers of Dr. Fate. Many minds made into one, an idea's engine. Swamp Thing, once Nobel Prize-winning biochemist, Dr. Alec Holland. Poison Ivy, once Pamela Isley, Doctor of Toxicology. Cyborg, aka Vic Stone, with the greatest technology of two worlds. Harley Quinn, Harleen Quinzel, Doctor of Psychology and Medicine. Mary Marvel, with the wisdom of Solomon. Detective Chimp, the world's greatest problem solver. Wallace West, the fastest mind on the planets. Batman. Well, because he's Batman." So guys, Tom Taylor pretty much says here, okay, you got all these great minds together, and Batman, aka Damian Wayne, he just gets put in there because he's Batman. Now this part, I wasn't a big fan of that, because I know it's always a joke because he's Batman stuff, but it just feels like, alright, we need to have Batman in this, even if he doesn't really fit, right? But guys, continuing. Cyborg says, we think we have it, the cure. Now we see Dr. Ivo. He says to all these people, I think they're ready, the Scourge. Now, Superman says to all the heroes, we can save them all. Penguin says to all the villains, we can wipe them all out. We can reclaim the world. Now we see the Mazel army unleashed upon the world. They start destroying everything. And Zatanna narrates, Mazel army, each one fast and strong enough to take on the Justice League alone. They moved as a swarm, ending all unlife, destroying the people we have just discovered how to save. Now we see Cyborg. He says, this is the cure. We hope now we need a test subject. Now, Dinah Lance comes up. She says, Ollie. So she wants Green Arrow to be cured. But that's when Scott Free, aka Mr. Miracle, he steps in front of her and says, no, Barda, we start with Big Barda. Now Dinah, she gets her ring ready. She says, why the hell should you get to? And Scott looks at her and says, Dinah, I admit I want her back, but this isn't just about what I want. If we miscalculate, if something goes wrong, Barda's hopefully strong enough to take it. We shouldn't risk Ollie. So this pretty much ends our argument, and Dinah lets Scott be the first one to use the cure. Now, Scott Free, Jonathan Kent, and Dinah Lance go through this boom tube. They make it to this one area. They walk out. Scott says, it wasn't easy to get her here, but this was the safest place I could think of. Now, Jonathan says, you were worried about Barda's well-being. And Scott says, honestly, I was worried about the well-being of Earth if she stayed on it. Now, Dinah says, that makes sense. Now, Scott looks, he's shocked. I left her. Oh no, she escaped. Now, that's when we see from the sky, and we hear Big Barda. She comes in close. Dinah gets her ring ready. No, that's when we see Big Barda. She smashes into Mr. Miracle. You hear a kush. Now, Big Barda on top of Mr. Miracle. She goes to punch, and Scott says, Superman, do it! Now, we see Jonathan Kent. He puts the cure into Big Barda. Big Barda gets her fist ready to kill Mr. Miracle. You're a tomb! And that's when Superman says, Scott, it's not working. Close your eyes. I have to get her off you. But Scott says, don't hurt her. Don't hurt. That's when we see Big Barda. She transforms back into her regular self. She says, Scott. And Scott says, Barda. Now, Big Barda looks at him. What happened? Where am I? Where's Jacob? Where's our boy? Now, Scott smiles. And he says, he's safe. He's on New Genesis. We'll go to him. We just have to save the Earth first. Now, Big Barda looks up and sees Superman and Dinah, or Green Canary. And she says, John, Dinah, is that you? How long have I been? And Dinah responds, 5 years. Scott says, not long in the life of a god. And Barda says, no. And Scott says, I missed you so much. Now they kiss and they embrace each other. Now we shift and Zatanna continues to narrate. John Constantine had been trying to avoid me. Now Constantine with the cloak of Ragman says, yes, Cloak, I know my wicked soul belongs to you, but give it a rest, will you? This is a tricky extraction. Now, Zatanna continues to narrate. I knew he had a secret room in the Tower of Fates. It took me a long time to find it. Now, she opens the door, and she walks in. Yeah, correct. Now, she says to Constantine, what do you think you're doing, Constantine? And John Constantine responds, hello, Z. And Zatanna responds, don't you hello me? What have you done, John? Now she looks and she sees the Spirit of Destiny, all these artifacts, and she says, the Wizard's Staff, Madame Xanadu's Crystal Ball, the freaking Spirit of Destiny. Is this what Jason died for? John, are you going to tell me what this is about? And John says, no. Can you trust me? Zatanna responds, of course not. I've known you too long. Constantine says, that's fair. I'm gonna do some things. They have to happen, and I will need your help. Now, Zatanna says, can you be less vague? Constantine says, no. Zatanna says, why? Constantine says, if I tell you what I'm going to do, you'll try to stop me. And Zatanna looks away, and she says, you don't know that. Constantine looks in her eyes and says, actually, I do. I saw the future. We fight. It's messy. Best avoid. Now, he looks at the door that's still open and he says, oh, bloody hell, Z. I spent years protecting this room from the Dr. Fates, and whatever else would walk to get in here, and you just left the door open? Anybody can walk in. We see the Phantom Stranger who walks in, and Constantine says, I've already had a visit from the ghost of Apocalypse past. You must be the ghost of Apocalypse present. As Zatanna says, what? And Constantine says, the Spectre came by. Now, Phantom Stranger walks up to Constantine and says, you stole Madame Xanadu's crystal ball. Constantine grits his teeth and says, are you here to stick up for your girlfriend? Because she was my girlfriend once too, mate. We're an incestuous bunch. What are you here for? And Phantom Stranger says to him, you must not continue on this path. Constantine looks at him. The world ends if I step off this path. You know, for a guy who claims he can't interfere, you sure stick your nose in a lot. You're just disapproval and a fedora, aren't you? Now, Phantom Stranger looks at Zatanna and says, does she know? Zatanna says, what? No what? And Phantom Stranger says, you took the wizard's staff. You took Ragman's cloak. You stabbed Ramakusha with the spirit destiny. Zatanna shouts, you what? And Phantom Stranger says, you imprisoned Boston Brand. Zatanna looks at John Constantine. John! Constantine goes up to Phantom Stranger and says, I chose to do things I didn't want to do because they had to be done. After what you did to get yourself doomed for all eternity, are you seriously judging me? You two-faced. Now, Phantom Stranger blasts John Constantine back and says, how dare you? And Constantine gets up with the spirit destiny and says, go on, try it. Zatanna says, seize this. And Constantine says, bloody hell, we see fire come up your womb. And Etrigan comes out. And Constantine says, what's this then? And Etrigan says, gone now, Etrigan, rise again in the form of man. And we see Jason Blood. He says, Constantine, we have to talk. Constantine goes up to Jason and says, I take it Trigon is coming? And Jason says, yes, he will set cloven foot on this earth in moments, and the world will burn. But there's more. And Constantine says, sure, because that's not enough. Now we see Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. They walk into the garden in Gotham. You hear a boom as they come through the boom tube. And Cyborg says, it works. And Damian says, any trouble? And Jonathan responds, well, she did try to kill us for a bit. And Damian says, that's to be expected. Now Cyborg says, there's no sign of degeneration in Barda. They've been stuck in some kind of unlife. Not living, not dying. Everyone affected with the anti-life equation is essentially frozen in their life cycle. We can bring them all back. We can start producing here today. And Harley says, well, we have a bit of time. They're not getting any undeader. And Constantine walks out. He says, we don't have time. Now Zatanna narrates. Constantine explained that the Amazo army was coming to wipe out all unlife right before we had a chance to save them. Constantine says, I know it's pretty crappy timing. Now, Jonathan says, every single person they destroy is gone forever. Well, I have to go. And Damian says, even you can't beat them all. We need a plan. Now, Zatanna narrates, Superman wanted to take them on straight away. 100 superpowered androids. And he didn't blink. We planned. And that's when Cyborg says, we need to take on the Amazos. Our strongest need to slow them down. But we can also remove their targets. Now, Detective Chimp says, more than half the world is gone. But that leaves so many who can be saved. We have to act now. Now, that's when Kid Flash says, we'll have to be fast. Now, Zatanna narrates, the lives of billions were on the line when Wallace West began reading every book and paper he could find on production. In 10 minutes, the Flash was an expert and had acquired enough knowledge to join Swamp Thing and Cyborg in manufacturing the cure. Magnus Labs was the fastest producing laboratory in the world. Fortunately, it still stood. Now we see Cyborg, he gets in this chair, and Kid Flash runs around setting up everything. Zatanna explains even more. With plasma cells from Cyborg's blood, all they've learned, and the Flash's knowledge and speed, they were able to begin producing the serum at extraordinary pace. 3 billion people infected with the anti-life virus could still be saved when the first batch rolled off the production line. But that number began to drop fast. We see Trigon. He unleashes into the earth. He comes out into London. And he starts killing the undead. And you see fire across all of London. London is wiped out. And Trigon has arrived. Now we go back to the Tower of Fate. Dr. Fate arrives. He says, "Did you feel that?" And Zatanna says, "Yes." And that's when Constantine says, "Right, nothing else for it. Fate, it's time I let you see what's behind my door. Z, you mind waiting outside?" Zatanna says, "John," and Constantine says, "Please." Now, Dr. Fate walks and he says, "My God," and Constantine says, "Yep, it's something alright." You see Phantom Stranger and Trigon, and that's when Constantine says, "Dr. Fate, I'm gonna need your helm and amulets." Now, Dr. Fate responds, "You can't be serious." And Constantine, putting on the cloak of Ragman, says, "I get that's a little uncharacteristic, but yeah, I'm serious for once." Now we see Phantom Stranger. He stabs the Spear of Destiny into Dr. Fate. You got Shaq, and Dr. Fate says, "Stranger, why?" And Phantom Stranger says, "Constantine showed me the future. Kent Nelson, you would prevent what needs to happen." Now, Dr. Fate, with the Spear of Destiny in his stomach, says, "I will not relinquish Nabu's helm freely, and it cannot be removed by your magic, Constantine." Constantine, with the hood over his face, says, "Yeah, we know." Shazam! And this lightning comes into Constantine. He gets the powers of Shazam, and he takes the helmet off of Dr. Fate's. And he says, "I'll take that amulet." Now, Dr. Fate says, "I don't understand. You have a pure heart to harness the wizard's power?" And Constantine says, "Yeah, I have one. Just don't ask where I got it." Now Zatanna walks in, "John," and Constantine says, "I'm not gonna lie. This is exactly as bad as it looks." Zatanna looks and sees that Constantine has the power of Shazam, has the Spear of Destiny, the Cloak of Ragman, Trigon and Phantom Stranger at his side, and Dr. Fate at his feet. Now, Constantine says to Zatanna, "See, this is why I asked you to wait outside. It's okay. Ken will live. I know, I'm a doctor now." Zatanna goes up to Constantine and says, "Are you coming back from this?" And Constantine looks at her. "Hey, it's me." And Zatanna says, "That's not an answer." Constantine, with the hood over his face, looks away and says, "Why are you the only person on this whole damn planet? I don't want to disappoint." Constantine and Zatanna kiss. And that's when Constantine flies up with the power of Shazam and says, "Ray or not, world, I'm coming to save you." He flies up, and now that Trigon has been unleashed in the world, Constantine is going to fight him, and he may die. He may not come back. So that was Dceased, Deadplanet number 6. Now guys, this issue really raised the stakes for this whole entire story. As we saw Trigon, he arrived. We saw the Mazel army finally be unleashed. Penguin and Professor Ivo are working together, even though Professor Ivo really has the lead on it. Like, he threatens to kill Penguin this issue, and Ivo does have like that control. Penguin, yeah, he's there and stuff, but he doesn't have the same control as Ivo does. Now we got Trigon, the Mazel army, and we also can't forget about the Unliving Darkseid, guys. We'll see if the Unliving Darkseid comes in next issue. I hope he shows up. If not, then we're having another sequel for Dceased, which that could be great. I'd be excited for that. But at the same time, having the Mazel Army, Trigon, and the Unliving Darkseid all in the final issue, that just raised the stakes so much. And guys, Tom Taylor does a great job to show how high stakes everything is in this issue by showing like the heroes, what their thoughts are, the villains. And we actually have a great parallel in one page where the heroes are making this cure, right? They're trying to save everyone. Now, the villains, like Penguin and Ivo, they're trying to destroy everything. So it's like different perspectives, and it shows there's still hero versus villain. There's all this other stuff factoring into the equation, and it makes the story super interesting. I really like that page where it shows like the different perspectives. It's probably one of the best pages in the book, not art-wise, but writing-wise, right? But yes, Tom Taylor in this issue, he shows a lot of great character dynamics, especially the whole Scott-Free and Big Barda scene where they cure her and it works. That scene was very nice, very emotional, and brought that whole cure storyline to like the end, because they have the cure now. But that's the least important thing, as all this other stuff is going on. But it does push the plot forward. There's a lot of plot progression in this issue, which makes it so great. Now, The artwork, guys. Before we get to the Constantine style, I want to talk about the artwork by Trevor Harrison. Guys, his artwork is probably the best it's ever been in this issue. How he draws Trigon, that whole splash image of the Amazing Army, it looks really cool, guys. I really liked it. It really stood out to me. He really knows how to draw like a post-apocalypse world. And you really feel it. Like, guys, when you're reading this, especially the scenes, the emotional moments, and the different interactions, like, Tom Taylor is great at making great character interactions, but Trevor Harrison brings them to life and helps Tom Taylor bring these, like, scenes to home. Like, they really hit home. Now, guys, so the ending, Constantine. Constantine is the best character in the series, as he's really doing so much. He's very desperate, as he's getting, like, the Spirit Destiny, the helmet of Dr. Fates, getting the power Shazam, all these different stuff, because he knows what's gonna happen. He needs the power to fight off against Trigon, which I'm excited to see next issue. And how this issue ends with Constantine having like the power Shazam, it really gets me excited. But at the same time, how does Constantine have a pure heart to get the power Shazam? It's kind of questionable. There's actually a couple questionable moments in this issue. Like the part where all the characters come together to form like a plan, and it says that Batman's there just because he's Batman. That's kind of like on the nose. I thought Tom Taylor could do better than that. So there's a couple of those lines in this issue, a couple like underwhelming dialogue, but that's mainly the big flaw. But other than that, the issue is pretty great, guys. I do recommend it because the artwork is amazing, the writing for the most part is solid, and how they end the issue, especially that big scene where Phantom Stranger stabs Dr. Fate, like that shocked me. Most shocking part in the issue, and probably my favorite parts, because it's just such a cool moment, and it was unique and out of nowhere. But yeah, guys, with one issue left of this series, the stakes are high, all these moving parts, there's a lot to end, like there's a lot to conclude, but at the same time, the potential is there to give us like a masterpiece finale, which I hope Tom Taylor gives us. I believe Tom Taylor can give us that, but I hope he doesn't use questionable storytelling and just fan service, whereas he should just be doing good writing. I know he has good writing, but in this issue, there's a couple questionable moments that could have been written better. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10. I recommend it. Go check it out. You guys tell me your thoughts on this issue down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite parts? And yeah, give me all your opinions, guys, and give me your theories for the final issue of this big series. But yeah, guys, if you liked the video, give a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next Dceased Deadplanet video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.